if you want to get all technical on me. It is 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. And, of course, that means it's time for Friday night DFS Live, starring myself and one Luke Lewis in the giant ball of oil. You guys know his grout article they write there on Roto-Grinders as well. Luke, how is this? How is the Friday evening treating you?
I had 2 different children crying. My wife blamed me for losing a slipper. So, just swimmingly so far today.
Did you lose the slippers? Fess up. You can tell her.
She set her own bag on top of the slipper and blamed me for hiding it.
Wow. And the kids crying, was that your fault too?
No. That's almost exclusively the fact that my younger son is a bully.
The younger son is a bully. That's interesting.
Yeah, beats up his older brother, probably could beat up anyone else, and then he gets yelled at, then he cries. Does things like just walks up, steals something, and smiles at the older brother. So
what are the ages we're talking about? I feel like it's like 2 and 4, isn't it?
2 and 4, ticking up to 3 and 5 here pretty quick. But needless to say, the 2-year-old is bigger.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so either the 4-year-old's really small or the 2-year-old's really big.
Neither of them are that tall. The 2-year-old is more rotund.
Yeah, that's a nice way to say.
Yeah.
Husky?
Husky. He's a bulky fella, is all.
Did you happen to see the video of the 9-year-old playing rugby? I think he's from one of the islands or so. Just absolutely just throwing kids out of his way. And it looked like he was bullying people, but he was playing a sport apparently. It was disguised as sports, but it was actually he was bullying, right?
Yep. It made me think of the Andy Reid picture from Punt, Pass, and Kick. Right? Just looks like, sometimes people grow differently. Kramer, Mother Nature's a mad scientist. They just put a little extra sprinkle of grow on a few kids, and that kid was one of them.
Andy Reid was at least 37 years old when he was in that Punt, Pass, and Kick, right? I want to see his birth certificate. I don't believe any. He's a monster. If you're gonna have a power rankings of YouTube clips, that's a first-round draft pick, is it not?
Definitely. And you know what I want to see? You know the guy that impersonates him so well that guy, they let him do a press conference? I want that guy to impersonate Andy Reid standing in line at a Punt, Pass, and Kick. That's what I want. Come on, Internet. You don't have anything to do today. Figure it out. Make that happen.
Let's make it happen. I'm with you. All right. So, we have 6 categories we're going to touch on. The first thing. So, Luke, we've been trying to engage the chat throughout this show, and we've been doing it unsuccessfully. Maybe that's on us. I don't know. Let's take the blame. Sure. Why not? They're all just getting excited because they know the next show, Levitan, Jam to Win, Jeff to Jeff, that's coming up. And they're not paying it. They're still sweating out hockey right now. They're talking NBA still, some preseason. So, Luke, I thought of an idea where you said, hey, let's try to find a way to engage the chat. And if anybody watched the other day, Pepsi 7, he was doing a hockey show. And he was just randomly throwing out, well, at least according to the viewer, he was randomly throwing out these most absurd movie references out of nowhere. And if you didn't know anything, you just think, well, this guy just likes his movies. He likes Netflix. He watched a lot of movies the last 15 years or so. And I was having fun. I was sitting there. I was playing hockey that night, so I was watching a show, and I was feeding him lines via the Skype, and he was just throwing them out there. And I thought, hey, Luke, here's an idea. Just to make the show be a little fun, maybe we have the chat feed us some random lines, pop culture, movies, TV, whatever it may be, and maybe we can somehow incorporate it in our analysis. Is that something we can do?
Absolutely. You give me a movie quip, and I will find a way to make it into the answers we're given.
So we're going to keep our eyes on chat. We're going to hopefully make that happen. But, again, from what I see, I'm taking a peek at the chat right now. To be fair, we're on 40-second delay. But as of right now, they're just talking about, again, basketball and hockey, which is great. But, hey, if you threw out some fun movie quotes, we'll do our best to incorporate that into the show. With that, Luke, our first game is over-under, and I believe you're going to be batting first.
Yep, but I want to go over because last week we promised we were actually going to keep score, and we did. Dean, do you know what our final score was? We each did 4.
I'm going to say I'm just going to go with the almanac. I'm going to say I won.
It was a tie. We each went 3-1. 3-1. So the one you missed was touches inside the 5 for LaShawn McCoy. They only ran 2 plays inside the 5. One of them was him. One of them was Robert Woods. The one I missed is under protest. I went under 1.5 stones from Adam Levitan. I'm going to tweet this out afterward, a picture. I think I did before. When he said his second stone, the smile that came across his face was not one that was excited about, speaking of cheap quarterbacks, which he was actually doing. He looked like, ha, ha, ha. So we talked about it being a meta game. Like, maybe I know how he feels about me depending on how this goes. I see you, Levitan. All right, fine.
Are you calling collusion? What are you suggesting? Give me the domino effect of things that may have happened. Like, you're suggesting he was aware of this and he intentionally hit the over. He smashed the over for me?
Yeah. I mean, I think he was aware of it. The way it happened, it made me think that he maybe didn't realize he went over, and when he did, he was like, "Oh, I just went over." But it also could have been just that he wanted to throw the game for me. That's also in play. I don't really know, but when he said that second stone, I can tell you it was more than just quarterback analysis.
Let me ask you this: was there a third stone in the show? Because then
No.
he says stone all the time. So
There was only two. I felt I was pretty good setting the line at like 1.25, and that he averages about 1.25, and I went under in one, and he went 2. Although it's ramped up, man. It's going up higher now. He's putting stone on places that he hadn't put it.
He knows it's a thing. I think he's saying stone intentionally. We're gonna have over under, or maybe I'll add it in there. Maybe it's gonna be 2.5 now because we got to make it a little more interesting. We got to get people to actually wait. True. Because all right, you're batting first as far as over under. So
here we go. Okay, so the first one's pretty easy. Over or under 25.002 FanDuel points for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan, one of my favorite quarterbacks this week, if you can afford him. And definitely if some value opens up, which I think it's going to open up. And obviously we all have our eyes on Gillisley, which will open things up even more. You got to love that matchup this week. That said, 25.002, DK, yes. FanDuel, I don't think so. The difference there is the 3-point bonus there for DraftKings. I think he's a fine play, but he's under. He's under 25.002.
I think he's been over it 2 times out of 6 is what I remember seeing. So, I thought he's got a good matchup maybe. Why don't you bring one? All right, you're going under. Dean, you're the optimist. You were over every time last week. All right, turn it over a new leaf.
Well, look, I'm saying Ryan's a fine play. I just don't like your line. That's all I'm saying. I think your line is a little bit skewed. I think you're trying to play to the fact. You just figure I'm going to go over anyway. You're trying to steal a point or two. That's what's happening there. Your line should have been like 22.5.
All right. Maybe there's some inflation there because it seems the popular vote is over.
So Jacquizz Rodgers, the backfield looks like it's going to be Hez there in Tampa. Total number of touches this week, 21.5, over under.
All right. Again, we're going to clarify, or I'm assuming a touch is a reception or a carry, and a target where he doesn't catch it is not necessarily a touch. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, he had like 78 touches on a Monday night last week. He's the only guy, and the fact that they were preparing for Doug Martin and he had a setback, it lends itself to more quiz. But I'm just taking the general, what it's so infrequent that a running back goes over 21.5. And I'm kind of a pessimist in general. I'm going to go under, but barely. I could lose this one easy. I think you've set a strong line. I'm going to go under because there's so many things that can happen, game flow, injury, whatever, that can make it go under. And it basically has to go perfect for him to go over.
So one of my favorite articles on Roto Grinders, besides, of course, the Grout article, that's my favorite, obviously, is the 10 possibly hook me up to the lie detector. 10 definitely interesting, possibly helpful notes for NFL Week 7. And one of the nuggets that were in there, opponents have rushed 30 or more times against the 49ers in 5 straight games. How do you feel about that? Now you're under quiz on 21.5.
I'm not in a good spot here. All right. I'm not in a good spot. I'm not real happy about where I've ended up here. Is the Mavericks should pick him up? Is that a movie line or is that somebody just ignoring our request?
They're talking about this. They play basketball. Do you not know about the basketball?
Is that the one with the non-pointy ball?
Correct. Yes.
Why don't they put some points on that ball?
I don't know. It looks like Stewie here, so maybe they'll attract more people. I'm not really sure, but yeah, you don't play basketball. This is that's going to tilt me, but that's a whole other conversation. You're up, right? Or no? Yep, you're up.
Okay, so Colin Kaepernick, who I know you like this week, over or under 1.07 kneels, including pregame.
Yeah, I mean, the hook obviously is including pregame. That's 1, right? So he starts at 1, so it's basically over under 0.07. So basically you're asking me, what are the chances that San Francisco wins this game? Not just wins this game, but wins it and has the ball at the end, the last minute or so, we're just killing clock. Or, the fact that maybe they have the ball in their own 15 with a minute to go or 30 seconds to go in the first half. They just kind of sit on it. I'm going to take the under. I just think that's a less likely than 50% chance of happening, so give me the under.
It's a pick 'em too, right? Very much straight up. Do you have a winner expected in that game?
Oh boy, I didn't realize. Did that line move? I feel like
I went on somewhere and I saw there was a point each. Best line for Tampa was +1, and best line for San Francisco was +1. I think Vegas Insiders had the consensus at pick.
I think San Fran wins, but I don't say it with a lot of confidence.
I heard it in your voice. That was not the confident wins. That was the.
Jameis, the last play of the game, like last time, where it's like 8 seconds on the clock and no timeouts, he scrambles and he tries to run to the end zone and he gets caught from behind or something like that, and that ends the game. There you go. No kneel downs.
All right. So why don't you fire one back at me?
Okay. So STL cards, you're aware of Justin Van Juten, right?
I am aware of him, although I'm not going to lie to you. Him and I haven't really interacted that much. I don't know him that well.
So he's not exactly known for being a movie buff, but I have on good authority. I actually know the answer to this. So total number of Die Hard movies STL Cards has seen over under 2.5. Now, when I say Die Hard movies, I'm talking about Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and A Good Day to Die Hard.
Wait, you just named 5. I thought there's 6 now.
Well, we're just.
I've only seen 1. Okay. Well, as it is,
which one have you seen out of curiosity? I assume the first one.
First one, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not an action guy, so I went in there because everyone loves it, and it's like, oh, that's an action movie, and it's got some quips, but it's just kind of not my cup of tea. Anyway, I'm not important here. I am going to go. Okay, so I know the answer is either 2 or 3 because you know the answer and you're setting a strong line. So I'm trying to work through why would he see a number that's less than all but more than none? And I'm going to go ahead and assume that he has seen just 1 and 2, and I'm going to take the under.
All right, you're playing catch up.
Lost
He's seen 4. He's seen 4 Die Hard movies, which just shocked me. I couldn't believe. Die Hard and Leprechaun is basically as we also as far as movies. All right, fire away. You're up.
Well, I wish you had told me. Now you've wrecked my confidence. Now I'm playing from behind. I'm going to be throwing up Hail Marys. The whole thing. I just wish you would have. Okay.
Abandon the run game.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not running it anymore. I'm going for it on 4th down. DeMarco Murray. The number is 2.29. Over under 2.29 10-plus yard plays.
Yeah, that's a bad line. It's going to be. I mean, I'm smashing the over there. Where can I book that? He's going to run off at least one run for more than 10-plus yards. He's going to have at least a catch of more than 10-plus yards. Another note, by the way, from the 10 definitely interesting article, the Indianapolis Colts have allowed 40-plus receiving yards to 5 different running backs this season. Make it 6 after this week. Over. Smashed.
Part of his allure has been the volume, right? He only had 1 last week.
He played the Colts last week.
Yeah, but can he play the Browns?
The Browns aren't that terrible against the run. They're not a good team, but they're not atrocious against the run.
Fair enough. You smashed the over. All right.
I smashed it. I mean, I am the house, everything, the dog, the kids, everything is on the over there. Geno Smith taking over there for quarterback as far as the Jets this week. Turnovers for Geno Smith, over under 1.5. Over under.
Is Crawford had it on his scat too, but didn't seal their guy up? That's not a movie line, right? Come on, chat. Can you please play along? All right.
They're not playing along. It's all right.
I don't know what to do here. It's just over, right? Is Geno Smith? If they're going to be losing, Baltimore's had a pretty stingy defense this year. It's just over. I don't know. If you want me to say more, I will. But all of that is just herp derp over.
Can you break it down for me as far as is it you seeing 2 picks? You seeing a couple fumbles? Any sort of a breakdown for you?
I'm not counting on fumbles. Fumbles happen, and that would be gravy for me. I'm counting on at least 2 completions to the birds.
All right, fire away. You're up.
All right, so the number, 5.9999. The number of correct answers the DFS Almanac will have if the Family Feud happens to show up this week.
Well, I assume it's going to show up, but I feel like it's going to show up right now. I have no idea, but I feel like it's going to happen. But, I mean, look, I'm a cash game player. I'm all about that hedge life, right? So I'm clearly going to take the under, and if I go over, hey, I smashed Family Feud. If I go under, at least I won this. So we're going under.
Hedge. Oh, my God.
Hashtag hedge life.
Oh, my God. Oh, okay. Well, the nice part is you don't know how many answers there's going to be up there. So in theory, you could there could only be 5 answers, and it could be impossible.
No, that would not be fair. But there's 6 answers on the board. I almost know this that's just the way it has to be. Otherwise, it's a rigged game. It's rigged, and I will not concede. But all right, David Johnson's is he the best football player in football, or at least best running back in football? And nobody's going to have him this week. Over under as far as the ownership, a 9.5% on FanDuel. Over under. What do you have for me?
Well, I actually was researching this. They've done studies. 60% of the time, it works every time that it's under 9.5%. Not only am I going to tell you I think he might be the best running back in football, better than Le'Veon Bell, but someone else today might tell you that as well. But I am still going under because people see Seattle and they run and hide. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but watching what he did to what I think is a pretty stout Jets run defense, I think if you're one of those I want a low ownership guys in GPP, you have hit the jackpot with David Johnson this week.
Yeah, I think it's a great tournament play. And I think Chancellor is doubtful for Seattle, which I think is noteworthy as well. But all right, you're up.
Okay. Mike Gillislee, which, by the way, always makes me think of Harry Potter gillyweed, which allows you to breathe underwater. Just a little FYI.
Yeah, you got to know your audience in that one. I've never seen a Harry Potter. Over under Harry Potter minutes I've seen like 2.5, but go ahead.
I just thought it would be nice to bring up weed in the first half of that because the over-under is 10.35 more touches than Jonathan Williams, who I believe to be the newest member of the Smile High Club.
Yeah, I think the only reason why you asked this question is because you wanted to get out Smile High Club. It's like fetch for you. You want it to be a thing.
Yeah, so much. Not only do I want it to be a thing, I love that you hashtag SHC, which looks just like THC. Like it just works so well there.
Well, I mean, is there an asterisk by this? Because, of course, Gillislee gets more carries than Williams if, McCoy doesn't play.
Well,
if McCoy does play, Gillislee doesn't get 10.5 carries by himself. So,
well, I'm assuming McCoy is out, but as it is, that's part of what you're going to have to do.
So, this is a revenge game for Gillislee, right?
I do? Oh, well, I mean, we would call it a revenge game. I'm not sure he feels heartbroken or anything.
It's a revenge game for Gillislee. Former Dolphin and also Narrative Street, too. Combination platter. He went to the University of Florida, and he grew up in DeLand, which is in kind of Central Florida as well. So I would imagine, look, if you're friends and family of Mike Gillislee, there's a pretty good chance of him getting the start. You're going to travel 4 hours to watch him play, right? It's worth the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to try to score touchdowns harder because his family's there?
Well, I think McCoy's going to be like, listen, I'm going to step aside for you. I know your family made the trip. I'm just going to – it's okay. I'm gonna try my best to get out there, but I'm gonna step aside, basically.
Okay, so what did you have, over or under?
Over. But I mean,
over 10.35 more touches than Jonathan Williams.
Yeah, but I mean, if McCoy plays, then I'm screwed. But whatever, let's go with the over. I guess basically the question is, does McCoy play? That's what you're asking me.
Yeah, although I'm not 100. Are you sold on this being only Gillislee's gig?
Yeah, Gillislee's actually good. In his small sample, he's actually been really solid.
That's us expecting performance, which I'm with you on. But what we're doing here is trying to decide what the coaches think of these two, right? You think the coaches are all in on one and zero in on the other?
Okay, it's going to be at worst 75-25. At worst 75-25. Okay,
well then just do the math here. If it's 75-25 and he gets 15, that means that Gillislee gets Williams gets 5 and it's under.
Wait, that's. Yeah. No.
More than 15 touches, 75-25.
I'm over. All right. So here's one for you. Odell Beckham, interactions with a kicker net this week, a half an interaction, over or under?
Well, here's the thing. He smoked himself in the head. Then he did something funny. It's got to be played out, right? I mean, he's got to
stop doing it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under.
There was also rumors that he would actually be the emergency kicker if Brown, they got rid of Brown or they cut Brown or they suspended him for a game. But they added Robbie Gould, who I imagine is on a flight over there, and I would imagine he's going to play. I haven't seen anything official on that, but whatever. The idea was out there earlier in the week that I think it would have counted on FanDuel, but alas, I don't think it's going to count. It's not going to happen, unfortunately.
Oh, that John Brown thing. When I simultaneously see people complain that he gets to play despite spousal abuse and complain that the commissioner has the right to just put him on this list that he doesn't get to play, we got to make up our minds. We either want the commissioner to have the power or not, but we just got to make up our minds.
You should make a video, a cold open, as far as how you feel about the commissioner.
I should. Someday, maybe I'll consider doing that. So where are we here? I got a straightforward one for you, but it's important to me because I like this player, and I'm kind of curious where you're at with him. Brandon Marshall, over 10.15 targets this week. Knowing that I think Geno Smith targeted him in their game together 76% of his passes or something like that the last time they played.
Yeah, it's over. I think the only guy that I can project to probably have more targets this week is Mike Evans. We'll talk about that in a second, I'm sure. But it's Marshall's game, right? He's not going to be incredibly efficient, but the Jets are not going to be able to run the ball here in Baltimore. And I think Marshall's one of those guys that nobody's really talking about. He's kind of in that second-tier conversation of receivers. Of course, people want to get A.J. Green. They want to get Evans. They want to get, not Antonio Brown. But there's other guys they're definitely looking at beforehand. And the Marshall Geno Smith stack, is that in play for you on FanDuel with Geno at 5K?
No. I'm going just naked Marshall out there. Listen, Thursday. I started Brian Hoyer, and I took 2 showers, and it's still like on me, like I can't get it off.
It made sense. I mean, look, it made some sense. Hoyer is a different. Yeah, it made some sense, but. Yeah, I wouldn't beat yourself up too much. You're kind of playing results there a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, but I mean, it still didn't leave me feeling good going in, and you're suggesting I play Geno Smith. Like,
I'm talking about in a tournament. I mean, look, if there was like no value at all this week, you could play Geno in cash on FanDuel, but I think there's enough value that you can certainly avoid that situation and pay up for Colin Kaepernick. Of course, you can pay up for other guys too. I'm joking. But all right, let's segue into the next question. Let me ask you this, because there's always tweets about Gillislee. If he's in, he's out. Not Gillislee, about McCoy. If he's in, he's out. We've seen so many different misinformation out there. And we know the actives and inactives come out an hour and a half before the game. So when will the definitive ruling as far as McCoy being in and out? I'm going to say the definitive ruling is Adam Schefter. When does he tweet out whether McCoy's in or out, over under 10:15 in the morning on Sunday?
Okay, I thought this was a good line, and then I realized that you're using Eastern time there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like 9:15 Central. The inactives come out at like 10:30 Central, so that's 9:30 Eastern.
No. They come out 11. They come out an hour and a half before the game.
Either it's, if it comes out at inactives, then we know. But if it comes from Schefter, it's going to come out way earlier. I think he's going to miss next week. Like, I trust Josina Anderson a lot more than Rex Ryan trying to be tricky. And he says he's very limited. I think he's out, and I think it's going to come out. I feel like Schefter's already got it, and he's got it set up to come out. This is like 4 a.m. tweet. I think it's going to be 4 a.m. Central. So I'm taking the under if under is earlier.
Fair enough. Fire away.
Okay. Okay. Team Also Chalk. They call themselves Team MG, Team Rebrand, whatever they're calling themselves.
Like that. Yeah.
Here's the number: 5.2 to 1, because they're beating us 2 to 1 right now. 5.2. Number of their plays in a 9-person lineup this week that is by definition chalk, using the $2 giant double up as the criteria for figuring out what's chalk. The top 3 running backs, top 3 wide receivers. If they do a different position in the flex than running back, then I'm going to go 4 wide receivers down. And then tight end, quarterback, all of those. How many of their 9 players will be by definition chalk? The number is 5.21.
Over, because they've rebranded themselves as their Team Chalk Part 2. They've seen the light, and they understand how to win cash games is by playing chalk. So the answer is over.
All right. I think that's an easy one for you. I figured I'd give you a bunny.
So rank these tight ends. I know this is an over-under, but I'm curious about these cheapy tight ends, kind of your thoughts on them. We got Vernon Davis, who's going to be I mean, the dude played 96% of the snaps last time out with Reed, out with his concussion. He's ruled out once again. He's facing Detroit. Detroit as they just give up touchdowns to tight ends. Basically, that's their thing. And then Jack Doyle, is Doyle going to rule with Dwayne Allen out? And then there's Cameron Brate with no B-Jacks. There's talk of him possibly playing some wide receiver. Maybe work his way more into the passing game. So if you can rank Vernon Davis, Doyle, and Brate for me. And also, if you have a tight end that's off the board that's not on that list, by all means, feel free to share.
Vernon Davis is a beautiful, beautiful chocolate man. I'm going with him number 1. I think that he's going to get more than 4 targets. His playing time was great, and his targets were low last week. And I'm not done playing tight end against Detroit yet. I'm not done yet. I don't know is it possible Dwayne Allen's just bad? Like, is it possible that's the reason why, despite them having Chud as the offensive coordinator, Mr. Tight End whisperer, that he can't do it? I don't know. But if Doyle doesn't get a touchdown, he's not going to get the yards to beat out Vernon Davis, I don't think. And then
what a crazy sentence to say, by the way, isn't it? Isn't that insane that that's like a rational sentence?
Yeah. when you get down to this level of tight ends, it feels like you're talking with marbles in your mouth. Just Cameron Brate. I think Cameron Brate is not good, despite what I've been told by draft Twitter. I do not think I think it's just all Mike Evans. I think he gets 100% of the targets.
100% of the targets. So like at no point does San Fran say, hey, maybe we should cover that guy or put 3 guys on him?
Nope, absolutely not. It's like when Kobe went for 81. They're not double teaming him. They got to keep defensive integrity.
Was that Jalen Rose that was covering him out there? Who was covering Kobe? I think he was in the conversation, right? He was one of the guys.
Yeah. Yep. He
so
was.
You're ranking the guys for Davis, Doyle, and Brate. It sounds like Davis is 1.
Yep, that's the order I have them. I have another one to add. His name is Dennis Pitta. And the over-under is 3.88. His place in tight end receptions this week. And I will note that I'm going to do round up, right? So if 2 guys are tied for 4th, they both get 4th.
Here's the thing is, I don't like Dennis Pitta. I'm not going to endorse him in any way. And he's probably going to catch 5 or 6 passes because that's just what he does. But, the A-dot stinks, obviously.
Oh, geez, what is going on here? What the heck is going on here? Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a game of Family Feud. Dean,
oh boy.
The question today is, we have the top 6 answers on the board. Name tight ends who have 100-yard games this season.
Gronk smash.
So you're going with Robert Gronkowski?
Correct.
Show me Robert Gronkowski. Ding! You've got him 2 games, 100 yards.
His teammate, the Captain Crunch loving Martellus Bennett.
The Black Unicorn, Martellus Bennett. Show me Martellus Bennett. Ding! Dino, 2 for him as well.
I know Dennis Pitta did. I don't know how. He must have carried his corpse to go to 100 yards, but that happened too.
You act like Dennis Pitta brought the game on or something. Show me Dennis Pitta. Ding! Dino, congratulations. 3 for 3.
Let's see. Did Hunter Hurst Henry do it? I don't think so. Kelsey, did he get – I think Walker got there. I feel like Delanie Walker got there.
Show me Delaney Walker. Oh, Dino, no 100-yard game for Delaney Walker.
All right. The narrative was great. Once Fleet had his hair, he ran for 100 yards or around that time against he caught a huge touchdown. I think against Atlanta. I want to say. Does that sound right?
Monday night was the game. Show me salon quality hair, Kobe Fleener. Ding! Congratulations.
Okay.
You're rolling here.
Okay, that's we got 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Did Kelsey do it? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Kelsey.
Show me.
Probably not.
Travis Kelsey.
No, that's a bad answer.
I can't remember. Chat, tell me. I think he is. What do
you mean you can't remember?
But X.
This game is rigged.
I don't get to see it. I can't remember. There's one guy I can't remember.
Oh, great. Okay, so who am I missing? I got 2 strikes, right?
You got 2 strikes. So chat, please go ahead and put your in. You have 4 of the 6 possible answers, and Gronk, Bennett, Kobe Fleener, and Dennis Pitta. Dennis Pitta each had 1. Both the New England guys had 2. There's 2 guys with 200-yard games apiece that remain. Oh, I know who it is.
Jordan Reed must have did it when he was healthy.
Show me Jordan Reed. Dino, you have stuck out, and Narniak steals with Jimmy Graham. He had 2 consecutive ones. And NBL Syndicate does the other steal with Greg Olson.
Greg Olson. I'm scrolling and I'm looking at teams. Just got to remind myself in my head, and I'm like, Carolina's just not on this slate, so that's why. But no excuses. I lost. That's 2 weeks in a row. But hey, you know what though? In our over-unders, I am smashing you. Right now, I'm up 1-0. You're down 0-1. So And you're taking off your clothes too, apparently. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. So
It's not something that's happening. That sounds made up.
I feel like that's what's going on.
No, that's made up. All right, Dino. Now 3.88 is the number for Dennis Pitta, his rank in tight end receptions this week.
No, I don't like Dennis Pitta. No, under. I know he's going to get his 6 catches, but I still no. They're not. His catches are not the same as Gronk catches. Is basically my point. I don't want to play him. I don't like him.
Fair enough. Well, you have gone under. Should we? I have one more. Do you want to do one more, or should we bail?
Fire away.
Wait, I've given you one more than you've given me. So give me one more, and we'll call it even.
Rushing yards for Colin Kaepernick over under 52 and a third.
Okay, so for that one, he went over last week, right? But I didn't see any. I don't think Gabbert went over that one time, or maybe he had 50 some yards one game. I'm gonna go under. Like, I still am not buying him, and for no other reason than, if there's injury issues, he could get banged. I'm going under, but I'm not super confident here. Not super confident at all.
I mean, what do you want to see? We saw Gabbert ran the ball 22 times his last 2 games before he got pulled. Gabbert.
Yeah, but he didn't run the 2 games before that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's possible. And,
it's a real option. Kaepernick, here's the thing with Kaepernick. You get a free touchdown when you play him. Free touchdown to start the game with his rushing yards. With upside.
If it's over. All right. I get what you're doing. All right. Do you want to introduce here the next thing we're doing?
I think the next thing we're doing is you're going to do some impressions. I don't know much about this. I'm aware. I know your impressions are a little bit shaky, but apparently you're going to do some impressions, and I'm going to try to figure out who you're talking about. Is that what's going on here? And again, you are changing clothes out of the corner of my eye. What is going on? Do I have to put $1 somewhere? This is the internet. I can't, unfortunately. Oh, boy.
All right.
Brett Michaels?
You have to guess who I am and who I'm touting.
Okay.
You know something, Mean Dean? When I'm walking the streets, the maniacs are always coming up to me asking what receiver between $5,000 and $6,000 I should play on FanDuel. As a man with 24-inch pythons, you gotta look at the body, Mean Dean. You gotta look at the body. One guy is 5'10", one is 5'11", as spindly as a rail post. Another guy's taking his vitamins. He's saying his prayers. He's true to himself. He's true to his country. You know he's true to his country when you look at his team. Who am I talking about, Mean Dean?
Oh, my, well, I know you're Hulk Hogan. I didn't really get – so somebody between 5 and 6K on FanDuel as far as a receiver?
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep, he's also true to his country. I don't know if you picked that up. What team is true to his country? With short teammates.
I mean, the Cowboys are supposed to be America's team, right? But they're not playing.
Are the Cowboys true to their country? I think there's somebody that's more true to their country.
Patriots?
Oh.
Are Patriots true to their country? We're talking about receivers, though, right?
Yeah. Who's the one that's not 5'10" or 5'8"?
Are you talking about Chris Hogan? Is that what's going on here?
Hogan!
You like Chris Hogan this week?
No. Not at all.
I thought that's what's going on here.
But Hulk Hogan does. All right.
Why would Hulk Hogan not like Chris Hogan? Who did I miss? Who am I missing here? Who's America's team and true to his country? And
the Patriots. Is there any team more true to their country than the Patriots? You know he's like 30 pounds bigger than both Edelman and Amendola. 3 inches and 30.
So wait, the answer was Chris Hogan?
Chris Hogan, you got it. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not big on Chris Hogan. Hulk Hogan, though, big on Chris Hogan.
Yeah, well, Hulk Hogan is not. I'm going to pick up his head-to-heads because I'm not big on Chris Hogan.
All right, next. People, I'm hearing there is a fantastic play. I mean, it is stupendous. He has the most yards from scrimmage. He has the most touchdowns. The defense he's playing, they say it's a wall. Trust me, it's not a wall. I know about walls. Nobody knows more about walls than me. This player is a great play on the West Coast. Who is it?
Well, it's Donald Trump that's promoting somebody, but again, I didn't really get any clues. It's just a great player that's playing on the West Coast. Is that what I'm hearing here?
Yeah, he's playing against a team whose defense is a wall. He's got the most yards from scrimmage. He's got the most touchdowns. Donald J. Trump, DJ Trump.
I am stumped. I missed your clue. I feel like there was a clue there, and I was too like honed in on your impression of Donald Trump that I just kind of like completely whiffed on the clue.
So it was David Johnson.
Okay. Yeah.
He does that.
Oh, yeah. You said the most yards from script. Yeah. Okay. My bad. I'm not good at this game apparently.
Well, I think what we're looking at is my impressions are probably leaving something to be desired. But
no. I knew who you had. I knew who you were on, and I was definitely locked in. But I wanted to hear where you're going to go with that, and I guess I just wasn't really listening for details.
Whatever it's worth, chat was all over David Johnson there. They had. When I said earlier that someone else besides me liked David Johnson, who do you think that was? Donald Trump. All right. I'm going to apologize in advance for my political incorrectness here.
Oh, great.
What?
Is this Mr. Pringles?
I had something else and I can't find it. Ese que te pasó, tío? Hay un wide receiver estupendo este fin de semana. Solo cuesta unos 5 o 6 mil pesos, like 5 or 6,000. Hey, ven aquí, amigo, ven aquí. Es un token of my apreciación. Voy a darle. I'm going to give him to you. Es tan rápido que su apellido. His speed is so fast, it's in his last name. When he scores, es una fiesta en el end zone con salsa, con tequila. ¿Quién es, amigo? ¿Quién es?
I'm just happy I took 4 years of Spanish that I got a decent chunk of that. That was Victor Cruz. You like Victor Cruz this week?
Yes. No, I don't actually like him. My character does, which, by the way, is the worst character of the bunch.
Who is your character again? Who is that?
Token Mexican guy. Because I was going to do Penelope Cruz, and I didn't have a wig. And I just went with token Mexican guy from the movies.
Are we sure Victor Cruz is Mexican?
I looked it up. He's definitely Mexican. All
right, fair enough. I don't believe that's true. Are we good with impressions now? What did I go? 2 for 3? That's not so bad. Meatloaf would be okay with that.
Well, I mean, I think, are we good with impressions? The answer is no. The answer is no, I'm not good with impressions. But we're done with the segment.
That's the most important thing. We cannot be moving on fast enough. And this is team captains now, yes?
Team what? Team captains, absolutely. Captains. Yep. So, Dino, I'm just going to give you – here's the deal. I am going to give you teams, and you're going to tell me the player that is going to have the best value on that team. Excuse me, I got a little distracted there. So, for instance, we're going to start with Oakland. Different players at different prices. You're going to tell me that the guy on FanDuel that has the highest points per dollar points per dollar of salary.
I'll take Cooper. I feel like you like Crabtree a little bit more, but I'll take Cooper. I think Cooper is the captain amongst his team. Of late, he's got much more targets the last couple of games, and I think the Jacksonville secondary is better than people think. We just think the Jacksonville's defense is not very good, but DVOA says otherwise, and I'm kind of sort of avoiding Oakland, which might be a mistake. I think for tournaments, for sure, definitely in play. But how about yourself? Because if you're going to force me to pick somebody in Oakland, I have to pick a captain. It's Amari Cooper. But again, I don't feel like I need him.
Yep, I'm going to go with Crabtree. There's a couple things, right? I'm still team Crabtree. I still think the targets at the end of the year are going to be more Crabtree than Cooper for whatever reason. And also, do you believe Jalen Ramsey is on his way to becoming a shutdown corner? I don't believe he's there, but certainly believe that he could cause some trouble for Cooper. So in 2 wide receivers that are roughly equal, I'm going to pick the guy that probably has a better matchup.
Mukamura is going to be on what's his name? Crabtree. He's pretty solid too. So again, I think that secondary is pretty good, and I think Ramsey's going to be good too. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be like a great evaluator of secondary players. I kind of yield to PFF on that, but I think Ramsey's going to be good, and doesn't mean I'm going to run away from Cooper. I might throw him a dart here and there as far as his tournament. Like that's kind of my reasoning. I'm mostly avoiding Oakland. Also, they're traveling across country too, which is always kind of a red flag for me.
Travel's a little easier these days. Let's go with the other team in that game, Jacksonville.
It's got to be A-Rob, right? Like I don't even know who I've heard rumblings of Bortles, I suppose, I guess, but there's so many quarterbacks this week that I like, and if I pay up the Bortles, I'm probably going to find the money to pay up a little bit more for other guys I like, or just like I said before, I can spend down to guys like Cap. For me, it's A-Rob. It's not even that close. It's not even a conversation.
It's value. It's not just raw points. I'm going with Marquise Lee.
Ugh.
Listen, I think as soon as
Marquise Lee.
Tell me when A-Rob gets over 75 yards. That jerk.
I will text you on Sunday at like 3:30.
Okay. Let's flip over to Cincinnati.
It's AJ Green. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can talk me into. I feel like you're going to give me like a Jeremy Hill sell, like whenever Cincinnati's ahead, that's kind of Jeremy Hill time, and he's been bad, he's been down the last couple of weeks, and maybe this is a get right spot for him, which I can see. But I'm FanDuel, I just can't see myself playing him just because you're only rostering 2 running backs in tournament. Sure, I suppose you want to be ambitious, but AJ Green should absolutely crush that secondary. It's weird because his history against Cleveland's not been very good. Hayden's been shutting him down. A couple things on that. Hayden's not been the same guy, this year, and he's been hurt. I don't think he's going to play. So if you're looking at BVP, team versus secondary, however you want to look at it, Green, for whatever reason, not been very good against Cleveland, but I feel like he defies that this week and goes absolutely nuts.
Yep. Jeremy Hill was the other one you were considering. I was looking at I don't know what you think of Tyler Eifert. I don't think I'm real optimistic, but I think there is some optimism out there. And also, it seems like Gio Bernard's the guy these days, right? I mean, they gave him goal line carries. Certainly didn't help my cause last week when he didn't cross the goal line. But I don't know. I think you're right with AJ Green, and I actually think it's not close. But I just feel like there was
zero chance I play Eifert. They talked about that he was supposed to come back last week and he didn't come back last week, and now if he comes back this week, I feel like they're going to kind of baby him to some degree. I think he's going to be slowly worked in. And also, it feels like a game where they're probably going to be ahead. If they're ahead by 17 or so, like end of the third quarter, are they really going to keep working him in there? They might just kind of give him like a half day. So no chance as far as Eifert. Basically, tight ends this week, it's the cheapies we talked about before. And sure, you can pay up for a guy like Gronk as well because there's plenty of value out there.
Okay, how about New Orleans?
Can I pass?
You can pass.
I don't want to play. I don't want anybody in New Orleans. Nobody. No. I don't want anybody in New Orleans.
I have a feeling someone's going to have some value, but as it is, we're good to skip that. Let's go with the other. Do
you have anybody in New Orleans? Like, is there somebody you like? Because I don't like anybody. Can you talk me to anybody? I got nothing.
I think Drew Brees bad on the road is a little overstated, and I think he's playing exceptional this year. So whatever the threshold is for what he normally does, and he's going to beat that. But I still am not going to play him, and he's not priced down for being on the road. But Kansas City has a couple of good options. What's your thought?
And Casey's just really tough to play in too. It's one of the harder home games as well. So I must not messing with it. If Spencer Ware has that backfield to him, and again, this is information we don't really know just yet. Even if Ware gets like 70% of the touches as opposed to Jamal Charles currently dealing with a knee of some sort, he's questionable. Like if Charles doesn't go, or if he's limited or reports him being limited, Ware is he is the nuts this week. It's 7K on FanDuel. If he gets 20 or so touches against New Orleans, he's going to crack 100. He's going to get in the box. And like Ware is he's my guy. I just can't see not playing him in cash games, assuming Charles is out. Now, if Charles is in, that's not going to chase me off Ware because, again, he could be in, he could be active or active. You're not really sure. Kind of give him a couple touches here and there. Just kind of give him a couple touches for whatever reason. Keep him fresh. And just not, grind him to the ground. What do you have, like 15 snaps or so last week? I think it was 15 snaps and 11 touches in those 15 snaps. But, yeah, Ware just feels like such a strong play if Charles doesn't play. And, again, not chased away if Charles is active in tournaments.
I agree. The other thing is Charles was not on the injury report, and then he went on the injury report. It's always a bad sign when you're moving that way late in the week. So I suspect you're right. Even if he's active, he's going to be ineffective. So I'm totally there with Ware. I just wasn't sure if you were on some Kelsey or anything like that.
He's fine, but he's not my first guy. It's Ware. Okay.
So let's switch over. I just have one thing that I have to talk about real quick, and then we'll talk about some Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm on a computer right here. Surprise, surprise. I had an old computer. It stopped working. It was bogging down. I bought a new computer. I looked at the specifications. I bought a computer that has more memory, more RAM, a better processor, Intel 11 or whatever it is. Just better, right? Because it's like, okay, you got to get a better computer. Now, it is getting bogged down, and I've only had it for a little bit of time. Like WTF, like same programs, like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, iTunes, Zoom, browser, like the same stuff. And how come it worked fine and now it doesn't? I mean, what did I actually get for this computer? A shinier cover? Here's the deal. It's like cookies. It's stuff that they put in there, right? And you know what? Cookies are terrible. We hate them. So what do they name them? Cookies. Something we like. Like, get out of here. We know they're bad. You're not tricking us. We're not free by naming them cookies. You can't call viruses $20 bills and pop-ups unicorn kisses. We still know that they're not good and we don't want them. So, okay, just tech companies. Just stop doing stuff for a while. We're fine. Just stop. Okay, now we talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm a little bit.
You got to get the Geek Squad on that. I hear they're pretty solid. The Best Buy, they'll hook you up. I know a guy. If you want a number, I'll pass it off to you.
It just feels like these programs just keep growing, and they're doing the same thing. Like iTunes is taking up exponentially more space while still just holding my files. It makes me so.
Why don't you have a Mac? You don't have a Mac?
No, that's not a.
That's your other mistake too.
All right, you're right.
But grab yourself a Mac. Splurge.
Okay. Well, I will, but then it's gonna be too small, and I have to get a new one. It's the worst. Hey, Dino. So we watched the 3rd episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? It was called Porno Gil, right?
Sure.
Got a little starring role for Saul Goodman, right? Plays a porn star. But my question to you, I had some things about it, but you said you had an overarching thing there you wanted to talk about. So you first, what did you have about that episode particularly?
Well, so the thing I thought that was the most interesting talking point in the entire episode, there's several, but there was a key moment that happened in the episode where Larry and his wife went over to Porno Gil's house, and his wife has this house rule where when you go to the house, you have to take your shoes off. She's very insistent upon it. And why is that a thing? Like, why are people so insistent on that? And I'm curious if you have a house rule. Does your wife have a house rule? Some people you have to have your shoes on, you have to have your shoes off, and it's a very strict thing. And I don't know. For me, it's a loose policy. Just do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm fine. How does that work? How does that go down in your house?
We take our shoes off. I never did when I was little, but my wife's family did, and I'm good with that. If you have carpet, I feel like you're more inclined to ask people to take their shoes off because it takes a stain. You can stain a carpet with dirt on your feet. You never know when you step in poop, man. So the poop doesn't tell you necessarily that you stepped in it. That was one of the things, because we do our little game, right? We play Common or Costanza, right? Where someone does something, Larry does something, and we decide if he's acting normal and the situation was weird, or if he's pulling a George Costanza and just bringing it upon himself. And one of those things was they said, take your shoes off. And he says, no. Like, why does he feel like he has the authority to just say no? Like, if I was the person that, if I was Bob Odenkirk and I said, take your shoes off, and he said no, I'd be like, all right, thanks for coming. You have yourself a good day. Like, house rules.
I think what it is that he wasn't wearing socks, and I think that kind of factors in, right? So would you rather have somebody wear just bare feet, or the socks are crucial, right? Is that kind of implied?
Well, he said that his feet got cold, but you have reason to believe he didn't have socks on?
I don't think he had socks on. I feel like he was just wearing shoes without socks, and that might have been factored into, but I'm not really sure. But that was probably more of a Costanza move. Like I don't necessarily. I'll play by your rules if I go to your house. Like if you really want to take my shoes off, I'll do it. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Yeah. Did you notice? I don't know if you noticed this. You watched it last week, and I watched it this week. At the very end, he goes back a second time to get his watch. He comes out, and then he kind of stumbles as he's putting his shoe on and knocks the door. And then Odenkirk comes there and said, I wasn't trying to knock. It looked so weird and one-offy. I think it was an accident. Do you think that was in the script?
I feel like it was probably ad-libbed. If you know how Curb is done, it's basically like a soft outline. It's not a specific script. They just kind of they ad-lib 4 or 5 different ways and just kind of pick and choose what works best with the final cut, basically.
Okay. One last thing, and then we got to give one more play. Definitely got to give one more play. But I think he seems like kind of a loathsome person, and I feel like his wife is an angel for being with him in that show. But when he did that little thing, how mad are you? 8.7 negotiates down to a 7. You can go back to an 8. I thought that was pretty endearing. I thought now I see what she sees in him. I liked that.
He's got some charm. He's got some sneaky charm.
Last week, Dean, you did something and screwed up big time. We asked you to give a play at the end. You gave LaShawn McCoy. You gave a great play. That's not what we're asking for. We don't need a great play. We need not a good play, not a pretty good play, not a pretty good play, not a pretty good play, but a pretty good play. So if the disembodied voice can help us out for a second.
Pretty good play of the week. I'm going to go Mike Evans. Like you said, he's going to get 100% of the targets. So that's going to happen, right? That's got to be 37 passes or so. He's not the most efficient player in the world. He kind of drops passes as well. But also, we do know that San Francisco is number 32 in DVOA against number 1 receivers. I think it's safe to say Mike Evans is the number 1 receiver for Tampa. He's going to absolutely smash this week. Love me some Mike Evans. With that, Luke, it was good times. I enjoyed the show. Again, stay tuned for Levitan, JM to win, Jeff the Jeff. They're coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Over-under on Stones, it's been moved up. Vegas, they're on to them. It's now 2.5. You guys are playing at home. With that, he's Luke. I'm Dean. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your football. We're out of here. Holler.